Welcome everybody to our Monday night shiur. We're exactly 6 days before the Hilulah of Morino Rabbeinu Rabbi Yehuda Ftayeh Ben Chana. It's going to be next Sunday night. Coming up Sunday night, we're going to have a Hilulah here Sunday night, Bezrat Hashem Yitbarach, besides for our Monday night shiur. And today's shiur is sponsored Leilun Nishmat Eliyahu Ochil Ben Surya Ruach Hashem Tenicheu Began Eden Amen. And our shiur is also sponsored Leilun Nishmat Neria Ben Svetlana V'kol Meti Am Yisrael Hashem Yanuach Et Nishmatam B'Tzor HaChaim V'gam Meir Ben Mazal, and also for the Zivug Agun of all the Ravakim. Hashem should bless all the Ravakim, all the single guys, that they should be zochet to find their Zivug, and they should be zochet to be a complete Adam. Shem Ma u Shem Ben. Okay, we are in Parashat Re'eh. The Parashat, we're exactly, I think, 39 days before Yom Kippur, if I'm not mistaken, Rosh Hashanah. It's customary to do Hatarat Nedarim 40 days before Rosh Hashanah, that our tefillot should be accepted. So, if, with your permission, guys, after the shiur, guys, don't run away. Let's do a Hatarat Nedarim over here with 10 guys. It's very important. We'll do it for each other. And we're going to go into these 40 days of Yetzirat Havlad, of the making of the child. It takes 40 days for Yetzirat Havlad. We're going to go there with Kedusha v'Tahara B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. We know the Sfaradim start to do Slichot coming Rosh Chodesh, which is going to be next week already. This Shabbat Mevarchim, I believe, right? And B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, once Slichot start, I'm going to talk a little bit about it today, how Moreno Rabbeinu Ari HaKadosh says that the 40 days of the Elul are so powerful that the Yag Tikunei Dikna, we all know that Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai, and Hashem Yitbarach told him, "Red, go down. Ki shichet amcha, your nation has sinned." We all know what the Zohar says. Shichet amecha. Who's amecha? The Erev Rav. The Erev Rav went made the Avera, the Egel Hazav, or at least they started it. And then Klal Yisrael, they joined it. Some say the Avera. The Orach Chaim says, "How come Am Yisrael was punished because of the Egel?" Was because they lo michu beyadam. They didn't stop them. Because they didn't stop them, nitpesu al avonam. They were caught up in their avon. So during these 40 days where Moshe Rabbeinu goes up to get the second luchot, and then he comes back on Yom Kippurim, the Ari says, Yad Tikunei Dikna, the 13 attributes of mercy are open, or Yad Midot Harachamim. Right? And what are they? Kel, Rachum, Vechanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed, Ve'emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Noseh Avon, V'Fesha, V'Chata'a, V'Nakeh. But, says Rabbeinu Ha'ari, that's the Chitzoniyut. That's the outside part of the Yad Tikunei Dikna, or the Yad Midot Harachamim. That's not the neshama of them. What is the neshama? It's Moshe Rabbeinu. When did he say those 13 attributes? After Hashem forgave them already. That means he only needed it a little bit. Who said the actual 13 attributes of mercy? Micha Hanavi. Mi el kamocha noseh avon v'over al pesha l'isharit nachalato lo hechzik la'ad apo until yashuv yirachamenu tikvosh avonotinu v'tashich b'mitzvot yam kol chatotam. Those 13, if you look at the Sidur HaAri, every time you say one of the 13, for example, you said the first one, Kel. You have to think of Mi, Kel, Kamocha. Kel, Rachum. Next one you have to think, Noseh Avon. Why? When you do that, you're tapping into the energy of the actual 13 attributes of mercy. Without that, you're only saying the Chitzoniyut. Why do we say the outside part of it, the goof and not the neshama? Because Moshe Rabbeinu said it. To give kavod to Moshe Rabbeinu, just like we say Shema, but Baruch Shem, we say low, in a low voice, because Yaakov Avinu, he said it, but It's not Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu said Shema Yisrael, so we say Shema Yisrael out loud. We know that the whole Chodesh Elul until the end of Yom Kippur is surrounding these 13 attributes. Mi el kamocha nosei avon. In fact, there is a yichud called the Yichud of the Yudin Vavavin that's written in this book, Ta'amei Mitzvot Shara Yichudim, Rav Meir Papirash. And he writes over there that starting Rosh Chodesh Elul, a person could open up 13 attributes of mercy so strongly, it's so important that he could change all the 11 months he did during the year. That's how powerful it is. He could change the whole thing. What's the connection? Ashkenazim, they start Slichot the week before Rosh Hashanah. The week before. The week, the Shabbat before. So Rosh Hashanah is, let's say, Tuesday from that Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, right? From the what's the Shabbat? Right. But Sfaradim, we start from, right? From after Rosh Chodesh. And what do we say during the Slichot? V'yavor Hashem al panav, and you have to have kavanah, those 13 attributes, because if you don't, you're not mamshich, you're not bringing down to yourself the mercy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because Hashem wants you to ask first. That's the whole point. When you ask, you're ma'aleh man. Ma'aleh man, you're bringing up the nitzotzot. Without bringing it up, nothing comes down. So if a person says, well, listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, anyway, he's supposed to give me whatever he has to give me. So I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to be a couch potato. And they say my parnasah is going to come anyways. It was written in Rosh Hashanah. So I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to wait for my parnasah to come. How come that doesn't work? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu put a midah in this world called midah keneged midah. In the Kabbalistic vernacular, we call it man umad. What's man umad? Ever look at an ocean? The ocean, it's invisible, but there's something called evaporation, right? The water in the ocean evaporates, goes through condensation, it turns into clouds, and then those clouds filter the water from the ocean. It's quite unbelievable. It's a miracle. They have a natural filter in the air, and from the water itself that it got from the ocean, it brings down water back down to this earth. Clean water. What? In the air. The air separates all the bad particles, all the salt and all the things that the human beings cannot take in, and it brings it back down to this world as fresh water. Unbelievable, right? The same way that works, that's called midah keneged midah. If you want rain to come down to you, you have to pick up. So what does that mean? The more work you put into your life, the more Hashem brings back down to you. There is no such a kind of thing that a person tries and tries and tries and never gets it at the end. A person always gets it at the end. Even Rav Avram ibn Ezra. Rav Avram ibn Ezra, you guys all know that he was a Mefaresh on the Chumash, right? He's in every Mikrot Gedolot. Who do you have over there? Ibn Ezra. He was a Baal Pshat, he was a Sephardic rabbi. He was a big poet. He wrote Ki Yeshmer HaShabbat. He wrote Agadelcha. He was a big tzaddik. I don't know about that, but if you say so. And he lived in the time of the Rambam. And the Avram ibn Ezra, he was so poor, he writes that if I would be a seller of shrouds, you know what shrouds are? When people die, it's called, what they dress the dead in, it's called shrouds. Because if I would be selling that, people will stop dying. That's how poor that's how bad mazal he had. He said, if I would sell candles, the sun would not set. That's what kind of bad mazal he had. But at the same time, out of all the people and all the Rishonim in Sfarad, who remembers all the Rishonim? Besides for the Hilulot we do and stuff like that, nobody remembers nobody. Who do everybody know? Ibn Ezra. So he might have been poor, the kesef, but the power that he put into his Torah, mitzvot, his galut, every Shabbat, what is the first song we sing on the Shabbat table? Ki Yeshmer Shabbat. It was written by Avram ibn Ezra. Once again, he was an ani marud miskin. There are crazy stories about him, between him and the Rambam. Some say they're legends, they're not true, but we like to believe that if the story was said, that means there is some emet to it. There's a story that Ibn Ezra saved the Rambam from conversion to Islam with the chess game. It's an old story. You remember that story? There's a story that the Ibn Ezra saved the Rambam in a chess game with the Sultan. The Rambam was very smart. Every time he used to play chess with a king, he used to win him. One time, it's a Tunisian story. One time, the Sultan said, I want to play you one last game. But in this game, if I win, you convert to Islam. I want to make you a Muslim. Yeah, and he tells him, the king, it doesn't work. It's a game, you know what I'm saying? He said, no, the king says you got to play. Okay, but if I win, I will convert to Judaism. Yeah. That means he had some kind of trick. And he always wondered, how can I lose? Suddenly he sees like some kind of ruach shtut. He cannot, because like some kind of ruach tuma'ah. And the Rambam, he doesn't remember the game, this and that. And he's losing. And he's about to lose. And he's like, I'm going to have to convert to Islam. Because he wrote himself in his Igeret Teman that if a Jew has to convert to Islam, he should convert and not die. Because Islam is not Avodah Zarah. That's what he writes. There is only one Rishon that we know of that writes Islam is Avodah Zarah. That's what he writes. But all the Rishonim say is not, including the Rambam. So now he writes that. Now he's saying convert. He has to convert now. Imagine the Chilul Hashem. What happened? They say that the Ibn Ezra, he came over there, to be as in the middle of the game, as a guy who's cleaning the palace, and he starts to tell him the moves. What do to here? What do there? Like in a poetic way, and the Rambam wins at the end. And he was saved from conversion. That's a story that they say.
Sultan converted to Judaism?
I don't think he converted to Judaism. That makes the story, who knows if it's true or not. So that's what they say. It's a cute story. Mazuz brings it down in his book of Tzadikim. Anyways, what I want to say is that Chodesh Elul is coming, and we have to tap into that energy. How do we tap in? We have to come into Chodesh Elul clean. How do we do that? Now, to come into Chodesh Elul clean, Ben Adam la Makom is impossible. Because Hashem knows Nistarot, He knows what goes on in our brains, He knows what we think of. So to come to Hashem clean, it's impossible. But we have it's okay because Hashem is Avar Rachaman. But what we could come clean to is Ben Adam lechavero. So instead of waiting for Yom Kippur to say Salachti, Tislach, right now is the time to make those amends with people if you want to say I'm sorry. Now the Mefarshim say the biggest people to say sorry to is your parents, your spouse. What about your children? Do you have to say sorry to them?
Of course, sure.
What do you guys think? What's the halacha?
Absolutely.
People think that if he's my child, I could do whatever I want to him. It's a free game over here. It's mine. But we know what Eov said. Hashem Natan, Hashem Lakach. The Mefarshim say in the halachot that even to one's children, if you feel like you wronged them, you also have to say slicha to them. Why? Because if they have a hakbada inside their heart, that could also break a person's tefillah.
Parents should say slicha to the kids?
To the kids, yeah.
There is no accepting.
There was a story once with the Baal Shem Tov. One time he was traveling on the road and he got into a very dark place. He lost his Ruach HaKodesh. He lost his... and he got into an inn where the guy treated him like garbage. And he brought him in. He punished him. It was Shabbat. He said, I'm giving you some black bread. Take it. Just get out of here, you disgusting Jews. He was Jewish himself, the guy. And when the Baal Shem Tov after Shabbat wanted to see why this happened to him, the Baal Shem Tov raised an orphan girl in his house. And every Friday, when his wife used to brush her hair, she had a lot of knots in her hair. And when she used to take the brush and the kid used to cry, it hurts me. His wife wouldn't care. She would rip the hair off. And she would yell and she would cry like, it hurts me. So no, I'm doing it for your good. Hold it. And she would rip. So even for that, the Baal Shem Tov had to answer. It's an old Hasidic story. But a person cannot say that another person's feelings doesn't matter. Everyone's feelings matter. Even if you're right. Let's say he deserved it. Even if he's right, still say sorry. Many times I speak to people, sometimes I don't see what I say. And I might say a very sharp word here. I try my best not to hurt anyone's feelings. My best. Really I do. But sometimes, nichnas yain, yatsa sod. Or in my case, nichnas J and B, yatsa sod. And sometimes I don't realize what I say and something is pulled from my mouth, something a bit too sharp. Now, what's the problem? When you're naturally a very nice person, when you say something sharp, it hurts even more. It's like if a person is a banzit and he does something bad, does it really matter? No. Anyways, he's a banzit, so he made something bad. But when a person is usually, if the president does a crime, it counts as a crime, even if it's a small crime, tax evasion. If a guy usually does tax evasion, okay, he does tax evasion. If the president does tax evasion, impeachment. Why? He's the president. He has to be. Well, not today's president because you know what's going on over there. Sodom v'Amorah. But in general, that's how it is. So a person has to be very careful what he says, when he says, and the answer is, don't let it stay. You're coming to Rosh Chodesh Elul, don't let it stay. Don't let it boil. Right away say sorry. There's a saying in Hebrew, Al tiyeh tzodek. Don't be right. Tiyeh chacham. Be smart. Don't be right. Be smart. Sometimes in life, even when you're right, you have to say sorry. Even when you're right. Because you don't want a person's hakpada, his grudge on you. Some people, they hold grudges on you forever. They can hold it on you and it could be very bad. Especially, the Gemara says, if you say to a person, God should judge between me and you. If you say that to a person, you put yourself into very bad hot water. If you say, Hashem yishpot beni ubenecha, and you're right, that person did bad to you, but you say God should judge between us, even though you're right, whose book did they open first? Yours. Who did it happen to? The Gemara says between Abraham and Sarah. Sarah said to Abraham, Yishpot Hashem beni ubenecha, God should judge between us. Why? When Hagar, she was an Egyptian slave, black. Not that I'm against blacks, but that's what it was. She was a black slave. Some say she was a princess in Paro's house, but she wasn't a princess like you think. Why? Paro had a harem. He had who knows how many wives this guy had. Okay, she was one princess over there. Paro took one of you be this girl's slave. From that came out Ishmael and all the balagan we have today. She goes, Sarah sees she's 90 years old. Still no baby. She says to Hagar, it was earlier than 90, but you guys get the point. She says, take the baby, take this Hagar, marry her. Maybe her child, because I own her, so her baby is technically mine. So Ishmael will be my child. Ibane gam anochi mimena. I'm going to build my family from this baby. Hagar gets pregnant. And Vatekal gvirta be'enea. And her mistress becomes easy in her eyes. Why? She's the slave. She gets pregnant. Abraham was a tumtum. That means he couldn't have a baby. And suddenly he had children? That means what did the miracle come through? Hagar. That means Abraham couldn't have kids. And the fact that he had kids, that means Hagar was suddenly a tzaddik. So Vatekal gvirta be'enea. She starts to put down Sarah. Sarah says, do this, do that, do this, do that. What happens? Sarah gives Ayin Hara to Hagar. Ayin Hara is very bad stuff, guys. That's why it's mumlatz to go to the mikveh every single day. When you go inside the mikveh, it's like going into Lahavdil, Lazarus pit. You go in there, you're reborn. You're a new person. Lahavdil. When you go into the mikveh, you're going inside the bina, all ayin haras on you are cancelled. Everything is cancelled. All bad, all kishufim, all, they say in Bukhari, shmoli bad. All these bad things, cancel out. Especially if you go Erev Shabbat. She says, Chamasiyah, but because she gives ayin hara to Hagar, she drops the baby. Not only does she get pregnant once, she gets pregnant a second time, Hagar. She gets pregnant a second time. And Sarah wants her to fall the baby again. Baby doesn't fall. No miscarriage. What does she do? She's 8 months pregnant. She tells her, Mrs. Hagar, clean the floor. You didn't clean it well. She's over there with a big stomach. She tries to bend down. And she's clean the walls. She can barely move. Let's clean the walls. She's pregnant. Do this, do that, do this, do that. She got punished for that at the end. The Midrash says, because Sarah made Hagar suffer when she was pregnant, the kids of Sarah will fall into the hands of the kids of Hagar. Do you hear what I'm telling you guys? Do you hear what I'm telling you? It's unbelievable. Because Sarah, our mother, made Hagar suffer while she was pregnant, we as Sarah's kids have to fall into the hands of the kids of how many months, says the Zohar? 9 months. Why 9 months? Pregnancy. You guys understand it now? You guys connected right now? Yishmael.
So it didn't happen yet, I guess.
9 months. We hope it happened already. We hope. I don't know how long we need this galut for. How long? Just this Motzei Shabbos, another guy was killed in Tel Aviv, trying to save Jews. Pigua, it was a terrorist attack. In the heart of Tel Aviv. They think it's not gonna get there. Got there too. The guy's friend was saying, help me, I need backup. He's rolling in his blood. Nobody goes to help. They're afraid. Today in Israel, if you help, you go against the terrorists, you have to go to court for that. You know that. It's such a liberal government. If you shoot a terrorist, you gotta pay. You gotta go to court for that. Nobody. The guy is in the blood. They don't come to. They're afraid. That's what kind of government it is. Erev Rav. Erev Rav. But what do we see from here? Sarah hurts Hagar. She's her slave for the love of God. We have to fall into their hands. But it's not my point. Because Sarah said to Abraham, then Hagar runs away. She couldn't handle it. She tells Abraham, God should judge between me and you. I put my slave into your hands. You made her the mistress of the house. Hashem said, what? You're telling Abraham. She was right, by the way. She was right. Hashem said, anything Sarah says, listen to her. What happened? Because she said the words, God should judge between me and you, that was extra. Don't say God should judge between me and you. Don't say that. Because she said that, who ended up dying first? Sarah. By who? By whose hands? Her husband. Abraham's hands. Judge me in your hand? Now you're going to be judged. So therefore, a lot of times we say these words to people. God should judge you. God should do this to you. God should say this to you. You deserve to be like this. Especially, by default, I have to call myself a rabbi of the Beit HaKnesset. Sometimes, stuff happen over here. I get hurt too. I'm also a human being. Right away, I'm makpid on myself. Right away. I say, no matter what, muchalim lo, muchalim lo, muchalim lo, muchalim lo, muchalim lo, muchalim lo, 100 times I say to myself in my head, should be forgiven, should be forgiven, it should be forgiven. To rip out of my heart, personally speaking, to rip it out. Now, especially as a teacher in school, how much things I go through over there. Right away, I said, muchalim lo, muchalim lo, muchalim lo. Until, I could see the guy the next day, I could give him a hug. To this extent, I brainwash myself that I should take the hakpada. You know what hakpada is? The particularity. To be particular, I should rip it out of my heart. And if a person does this, he's going to be the number one person in life. He'll be stress-free. He'll live a long life. He'll live a happy life. Because whatever his wife tell him won't bother him. Whatever his kids will tell him won't bother him. Whatever his employees or partners, nothing will bother this guy. Why? He ripped the hakpada out of his heart. Now I want to ask you a question. This kind of guy goes in front of Hashem on Rosh Hashanah. What kind of grade Hashem is going to give him? If not an A+, then what? A++. If not an A+, then an A++. This kind of person gets straight to the book of Tzaddikim. Straight. Why? Hashem says, these Jewish people, they're a part of me. You could learn to take away your hakpadah from them. I'm going to take away my hakpadah from you. It's unbelievable stuff. And I practice this. I'm not telling you something that I don't practice. I practice this. I practice this. I practice this. I'm telling you guys, this is a sure way to a golden ticket. When you take away your hakbadah from people, now sometimes it's hard. Why? Sometimes you take it away, you forgive the guy, but when you see the guy on the street, you want to cross the street. You feel uncomfortable. You have to break yourself. You have to pass him and tell him hello. Like this. I know people that when I pass them in the street, I didn't mean to. I didn't look. I don't see well from far. I didn't tell him shalom. The guy doesn't want to speak to me afterwards. He thinks because I didn't tell him hello, I hurt his feelings. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't see. 10, 20 feet, I don't see. I didn't mean to. So what do? Every time I see something I think I know, I pick up my hands. I know the guy, I don't know the guy. I pick up my hands like this. Sometimes people look at me, who is this guy telling me hello over here? I don't know, just hello, shalom, shtiya bari. Just don't have any hakpadah on me. It's a mitzvah from the Torah, by the way. Heve mikabel et kol ha'adam b'sever panim yafot. Why is that? Why b'sever panim yafot? I'm going to tell you something unbelievable from this week's Parashat. The Parashat says, Re'eh, see. Behold, I'm giving in front of you today the bracha and the klala. Blessings and curses. Ubacharta, what should you choose? Hayim, choose life. It doesn't say choose blessings. Well, obviously blessings is life, right? It says, I'm giving you in front of you blessings and curses, choose life. Why doesn't the Torah says Moshe should tell them, here, I'm giving you, you're reading the Torah, you don't see the blessings and curses, you have to hear, right? Naaseh ve nishma. Why did it say see? I'm going to tell you a chidush from Rabbeinu Ari HaKadosh. This week's Parashat Re'eh says it's many mitzvot. Kashrut is over there. Building Yerushalayim is over there. Shalosh Regalim is over there. But most importantly, the mitzvah of tzedakah is in this week's Parashat. This week's Parashat, the pasuk says, what does the pasuk say? Patuach tiftach et yadcha la'achicha evyonecha. Open your hands to your brother, your poor fellow. What does that mean? The halakha says, any person that has less than 200 zuz, a certain amount of money in his pocket, he is eligible to accept tzedakah. Hillel HaZaken says, even a person that was once upon a time rich and he went down from his level, he became right now middle class. He was used to living life in a luxurious way, now in a very low way. You're obligated to also give him tzedakah. That he should live the same status that he used to live. That's also considered tzedakah. Hillel HaZaken, which was a Nasi, one time they used to run in front of the chariots of people. He once was running the Nasi in front of a chariot, a horse of a person that was riding. He used to be rich. He didn't afford a slave now. Hillel HaZaken said, I'm going to be your slave for today. I want to be Mikayel the mitzvah of tzedakah. I'm going to run in front of your chariot to give you kavod. To that extent. This week's parasha talks about the mitzvah of giving tzedakah. What does all this have to do with the milah re'eh, see? I spoke about this many times. If you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. But this is our avodah. Really, Hashem didn't need to create this world. The Etz HaChaim says there was no point for him. He's perfect. Perfection doesn't need this. It doesn't need the chaos. It doesn't need the going against him. Hashem doesn't need this stuff. Why did he create it? So Baal Tanya says, did you ever ask a guy why he likes chocolate? Why does he enjoy chocolate? Because he does. He likes the taste. You can't ask Hashem why he wanted to create this world. You know why? Because he felt like it. What do you mean why he created this world? He wanted to. But it's deeper than that. The Ari teaches us the tchuna the basic characteristic that Hashem wants to teach us in this world, that God is a giver. Because He's a giver, He wants to create an atmosphere where the closest beings to Him will always be in a constant state of giving. We receive from Him to give to something beneath us. Therefore the Torah says there are animals, there's plants, there are poor people, there are goyim, there's everything. Why? We are not in a way that we're chas v'shalom racist or bigots. It's the hierarchy of the world. There is God, there are angels, then there are Jews, and then there's humanity. We're not trying, yeah, it doesn't sound bad at all. But it's not supposed to be. Why? If we were really evil people that we want to go against, what would be ours? If we felt like we were above the goyim, what would we do? Give us. What do we say? Just the opposite. We want to give to you. That's what we say to the world. We want to show Hashem's light. And that's what's happening today, by the way. From Mumbai to Alabama to South America. Just this past 2 weeks ago, some guy from South America emailed me. I don't know how he got my email.
Are you also watching?
And probably. And he writes over there, Lost Sparks in Colombia. That was the name of the now. With a name like that, I have to open up the email. Lost Sparks in Colombia. I'm always looking for lost sparks. And he writes, well, listen, I'm in Colombia. Listen, I wanna go through conversion. I want to convert. I feel I need to convert. And I don't have any Beit Din over here to convert through. That's, you see. Colombia. In Colombia. There's Nitzotzot Kedusha also in Colombia. By the way, there's a lot of it in South America. There's a lot of Nitzotzot Kedusha. Why? The Jews that ran away from Spain, not all of them went to Portugal, Morocco. A lot of them went to South America. And they became Marranos and conversos over there. So you never know, those Nitzotzot Kedusha before Mashiach comes is going to reawaken. The Pasuk says, just because, when we mention Mashiach, we have to throw a little bone over here. It says, Kimei tzitcha me'eretz Mitzrayim ma'arei niflaot. Like the days that I took you out of Egypt, I'm going to show you wonders in the future. Right? How many years were we in Egypt? 210. This is easy Jewish trivia tonight. 210 years. Rav Katina says the world is going to be till the year... See what the Yetzer Hara does? 6,000. Right? Twice Rav Katina says that, one in Sanhedrin and one in Shabbat, I think. Don't hold me. So Rav Katina says the world is to the year 6,000. Tana de Eliyahu also said. Eliyahu Navi agrees with him. Eliyahu Navi agrees. Listen, I'm going to take Eliyahu Navi's word for it. But it says, like the days we were in Egypt, I'm going to show you miracles. What year we're in today? 5783. Do the math. How many years is left? You should do the opposite, huh? 217. How many years we were in Egypt? 210. Like the days of Egypt, I will show you wonders. It looks like we have one more Shemitah cycle left.
7 years.
Huh?
7 years.
One more Shemitah cycle. Because we're, huh? 217. 217. 210. It makes it. It's not my chidush. I saw it somewhere. It's not me. Don't hold me onto it. But I have seen this before that it has to be a Shemitah cycle. So listen, one more Shemitah cycle, huh? It's gonna be soon the Hilulah review of Tayer. This Sunday night, I'm gonna make a Hilulah over here. I hope all you guys come to join in the Hilulah. Moreno v'Rabbeinu Ateret Rosheinu Rosh Shoresh Nishmatenu Moreno v'Rabbeinu Harif Hatisha Chazak Hanera Ma'aravi. Listen, if you guys just know who he was, you would dream of him. Dream of him. He writes over there in his personal journal, he was a very sick person. Yet I think he had asthma or some kind of lung disorder, and he couldn't live in the air of Eretz Yisrael. It was very bad for him. But in the year 1905, he moved to Eretz Yisrael. Why? If you look in his journal, many times a Magid would tell him from Shamayim that the year 1906 was the year of the Geulah. It was the year of the Geulah. And over there, writes in the footnote, 1906. Because the Zohar says in the 6,000th year, in the 6,000 millennium, in the 600th year, in the 60th year, in the 6th year of the 60th year, right? So 5666. 56 is going to be 1906. All the gates of wisdom will open up. So many Kabbalists thought Mashiach was going to come that year, including Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya, so he moved to Israel that year. When they saw that it didn't happen, they moved back. But what interesting thing happened that year? 2 years later, in the year 1909, Tel Aviv became a city. Once Tel Aviv became a city, what happened? The whole Israel started to become Jewish. Right? So that started the first immigration. The first Aliyah wave, that means Tel Aviv became an official city in 1909. And from Tel Aviv, it just took off, right? But what the angel told Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya, not an angel, Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya was the Gilgul of Rav Yehuda Bar Yecheskel. If any of you guys learn Gemara, you guys ever learn Gemara, it says, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav. Probably in every other page his name is, right? The Rosh Yeshiva of Pumbedita. So Rav Yehuda Bar Yecheskel, his father's name was Yecheskel. Rav Yehuda Bar Yecheskel was the Gilgul of Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya. That was Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya himself. And he was Zochet to his Ibur Neshama, he came inside of him, and he would tell him Atirot, and he would also help him fix Neshamot and all that stuff that you know about him. Fascinating stuff. I mean, the things I'm going to tell you, B'ezrat Hashem, Sunday night, I hope I'll be able to say it over, because there's just so much information. I don't know how to even put it correctly, but Rabbi Yehuda Bar Yecheskel told Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya that every 60 years, from the year 5000, which is the 6th millennium, is going to be an awakening for Mashiach. You know, you have exits when you go to the highway, right? You have exit 13, exit this, that. So when Mashiach comes, there's going to be exits. You could miss the exit and wait for the next exit. So the Zohar says, I'm not making this stuff up. It's written inside Rav Yaakov. You know where Yaakov Hillel is? Rosh Yeshiva Rav Shalom. He writes this down, right? More than this you guys want. He brings this down. He writes, in the name of the Zohar, every 60 years, I'm revealing a secret here, every 60 years from the 6th millennium will be an exit. Guess what was the last 68th year? 5780, also known as the year of Corona. Remember what happened here in the year of the Corona? Everybody said Mashiach was coming, they're closing all the shuls, all the windows have to close before the window has to open up. Now says Rav Meir Papira, if 1-2 years after that, it's no difference. As long as it's within that vicinity of the year, it might happen. You know, and the way the world is going right now, it's mamash split, as the Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, or kulo zakai, or kulo chayal. Or you're on the right, there's nobody in the middle today. There are no intermediates anymore. Those guys who say they're in the middle, they're really on the left. It's either you're right or you're left. So it's coming closer to that. And B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, we hope to see Niflaot, but if not, we have this Gemara that says, like the days of Mitzrayim, I will show you miracles, and we have 217 years left. And it was 210 years in Egypt, so you never know, we're very close. So what are you to do to be safe from Mechevle Mashiach? What do we do? We're not safe here in America, you guys know that, right? You know, when Hitler got into power, Germany was a republic. It was a democracy. The Weimar Republic. It was a democracy. What happened? Inflation happened. Sound familiar? Has to repeat this. Crazy inflation. They would take the German, they were I think called marks. They would take them and they used to use them as playing cards. And the money became, and who did they blame? Obviously, they needed a scapegoat. They blamed the Jews. And then this crazy Samech Mem, he was in jail, and he started the Nazi socialist. Nazi from it's a socialist party, right? Something like the left today. And he decided, and he wrote the book Mein Kampf. And in Mein Kampf, he made a whole plan how he's going to bring the nationality back to Germany. He didn't believe in God, by the way. Oto Haish, he didn't believe in, he wasn't a Kritmach. He didn't believe in God. Right? Some say he believed in Zeus in the Greek mythology, and he wrote a whole thing. And in his plan, he wrote that the spawn of evil in this world, was the Jewish people. Why did he write that? He was very smart. He writes, what's wrong with this world? What's wrong with this world is that people have reason. There is a yes and a no. Who brought that reason into this world? Who said no? Who were the first people that said, no, you're not allowed to do this. You cannot do human sacrifices. You cannot be chas v'shalom with somebody else's spouse. You cannot. Who said stop? You cannot. The Jews. He says, you take the Jews out of the equation, the world goes back to the way it was. Bohemian lifestyle, liberalism, everything goes. We gotta erase, we gotta eradicate these Jews.
It's not Jews, it's God said it to us.
Huh?
God said it to us, not Jews. I mean, we're just picking it up from the God, that's it.
Of course, but Avraham Avinu is called the father of the Ummah of Klal Yisrael. But, going back to Re'eh, if we don't see where the world is going to today, we're making a big mistake. You don't have to see the news anymore. Everything is open right now. I told you guys, my friend, he sends his kid, my neighbor, to the public school over here. Over here, and
PS 165.
wherever it is. And in the school, in the public school over here in Kew Garden Hills, they have books over there that teach the kids how to change their, whatever, you guys already know. And in the libraries, there are already bathrooms that are men and women together, stuff like that. We're seeing Dora Mabul within our eyes, but we don't even know what we're seeing. Because we're so into our lives. Re'eh, Hashem says. See, I'm giving you Chaim and Atok. Now I want to teach you guys one Kavanah. I know I get into tangents, I apologize. To the viewers, I apologize, but it's so, sometimes the topic is so juicy you can't stop. I want to tell you guys a secret of why Hashem says Re'eh over Tishma here. Over any other sense, right? We still have 5 senses today, do we? Right? You never know with today's society. You could have 10 senses. Now, out of all the senses, we have sight, shmi'ah, the hearing, the smell, right? Touch. We're missing one, and taste. Out of all the 5 senses, which one didn't get hurt from Etz Hadat?
No.
Huh?
No.
The nose. The nose. Why? They heard Hashem say, don't eat. They saw, they tasted, and they touched the tree, right? But one thing wasn't hurt. Which one? The smell, sense of smell. That's why when Noah came out of the ark, when he made the korban, Hashem says, he smelled the reach hanichoach. He didn't see it, he didn't hear it, he smelled it. Why? Through the sense of smell, which is the nishama, we're going to fix the goof. Okay? Which one of the senses was the worst? Ruined. Huh? You're on a roll today. Let them make the wrong guess over here. You're ruining it over here. The one sense that was ruined out of all the 5 senses, like, mamash ruined, was the sense of see. See. Adam ruined his sense of see when he saw the Etz Hadat and Chava said, take it. And he took it willingly. Hevel also ruined it. He repeated the sin of Adam HaRishon to ruin the sense of the eyes when he brought the Korban, he gazed at the Shekhinah. It's a whole shiur, because Hashem, the new year is going to come. We're going to make a crazy shiur on the Hevel and Adam and his sense of, if you want to see a little bit of Patorah Da'aba this past Sunday, some amazing stuff over there. And Akedat Yitzchak. Avraham and Yitzchak were Adam and Hevel. When they went to the Akedat Yitzchak, they were supposed to fix the sin of the seeing. Did Yitzchak fix it? He did not. How do we know? He ended up becoming blind. The sin of killing of Adam he fixed, because he went to kill himself as an olah. But the sin of gazing, he still didn't fix that. Why do we know? But tikahena ve'iki zaken Yitzchak. When Yitzchak became old, but tikahena einav me'od, he couldn't see, he became blind. He lost his sense of seeing. He lost it.
Isn't fixing for the eyes because he got blind?
No, it's the opposite. When you fix the sin of the eyes, you see very well. Not only do you see spiritual things. Not only didn't Yitzchak see, he couldn't even tell the difference between Yaakov and Esav. When did he tell the difference? When he smelled him. Because that was the only part. I'm not telling you some drashot here. I'm telling you Ari HaKadosh here.
Yeah, but he also heard it. The heard.
But he couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, because
He didn't tell the difference.
That's why he said, "Let me touch
Right, let me tell you. He touched him. He heard him. Right? He tasted the food. He couldn't see. But he smelled him. And when he smelled him, he said, oh, Re'eh re'ach beni kereach hasadeh she'berachu Amonai. He didn't fix it. Avraham fixed it. His part. Why? How do we know? What's his parasha? Vayera Hashem el Avraham. And God showed himself to Avraham. Avraham was looking, he was free talking to Hashem. He's having a brit milah, he's speaking, he's looking at angels. Everything is good over there. Even Hagar saw angels. When Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai went to Rome, he said, I have to see a shed. When Hagar saw angels in the house of Avraham, Avraham did whatever he had to do. But Yitzchak still did it. Moshe Rabbeinu fixed also. When did he fix? At the burning bush. Vayaster Moshe panav. Moshe shut his face. He closed his face. He was afraid to look. All of Klal Yisrael are the nitzatzot of Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Klal Yisrael, Re'eh. See, the tikkun of a person is only in the enayim, in his enayim. Whatever he sees, that's what's get imprinted in his neshama. Shemirat ha'enayim ze kol ha'adam. Ze kol ha'adam. When a person is shomer his einayim, he fixes the shbirat hakelim, the breaking of the vessels. I want to teach you guys something from the Etz HaChaim and I'll let you go. The Etz HaChaim says when God created the world, we have the biggest partsuf, the biggest system called Ak. Ak, or Adam Kadmon. When the world of Ak wanted to take out the olamot of Atzilut, which is Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, all the sfirot, the olamot came out through what we call the enayim of Ak. The eyes of Ak. It's a mashal. The enayim of Ak. What happened to those worlds when they came out of the enayim of Ak? They came down. Keter, Chokhmah, Bina. You see how they're in 3 different lanes? And then something weird happened to the last 7. They all came down in one line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Says Rabbeinu Ari, because these 7 came down in one line, what happened to all of them? They shattered. They shattered. From their shattering, what does the Gemara in Chagiga say? God created the world on a garbage dump. From the breaking of the vessels, He created the new world. Our job is to complete those 7 vessels and to put them in their correct order. Exactly. Now you understand what's the meaning of Pesach? Why we call it Leil HaSeder? How the beginning of all Klal Yisrael is just to be in the right order. All the problems of a human being is a Kohen when he thinks he's a Levi. When a Levi thinks that he's Yisrael. When a Talmid Chacham thinks he's an Am Haaretz. When an Am Haaretz thinks he's Talmid Chacham. When a person doesn't... one person says something great to me. He says, well, a person really believes in Hashem when he believes in himself. A person must believe in himself and his power. Believe in your mission in life. To put those vessels, those spheres, in their correct lane. Chesed has to be on the right. If you're a chesed, you can't be on the left. If you're on the left, you can't. If you're a lefty, you're not a righty. Don't try to fool yourself. If you're a doctor, don't be a lawyer. If you're a lawyer, don't be a sanitation worker. If you're a sanitation worker, don't try to be a doctor. Everybody you have to know your place in life. Da'at mekomcha, says the Pirkei Avot. Hamakir et mekomo. You have to know your place in life. Know who you are. A lot of times parents ruin kids' lives. Because they say, he has to be a doctor. What if he's not meant to be a doctor? Let him take his mission in life. Maybe he's supposed to be a businessman. Maybe he's supposed to be a Rav. Maybe he's supposed to be a computer programmer. Who knows what he's supposed to be? Why are you pushing him in that direction? Why are you forcing him? He doesn't know his direction in life then. Guess what, by the way? Hashem will put him in his direction. But when he's going to get there, he's going to be very confused. Because all of his life, somebody's telling him he's supposed to be something else, and suddenly he sees that he's meant to be something else. He doesn't know his place. He doesn't know his place. From these broken vessels, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put them in the right way. Now, what's the secret, says the Ari? Look at this beautiful thing. Why did the Ari HaKadosh die very young? How old was he, guys? 38. You guys are the best. The best. When I hear this kind of answers, I'm proud.
Have a wood the call.
Huh?
Have a wood the friend.
I like that. Ari was 38. Why did he die, guys? He revealed the secrets, but then he said, if you guys will live together nicely, I'll live. What happened?
Not with women.
What happened?
Not with women.
Not with women. Janganozi. What's Janganozi mean, guys? When I don't, why does a person fight with somebody? Because he believes what that person has is supposed to be mine, whatever I have is whatever. It's not in the right order. What happens again when a person is in machloket? I don't want to share. When everybody's in the right lane, what are we basically doing? We're sharing with each other. We're a team. We're a team. We work together. But when we say we're not a team anymore and we become again like this in one line, what happens again to them? It shatters. Says the Leshem Shovah Achlama, every year we get shattered. Every year that Mashiach doesn't come, see, you're being shattered. You're getting the klala. Every year, not every 60 years like the Zohar. Every year he's supposed to come. On Pesach he's supposed to come. He doesn't come. You know why? We're still in one line. We don't know how to share. And where did it come out of? The Enaim, right? If we don't know how to fix the Enaim, then we're still going to be what the Zohar says, Chad Samcha, standing on one leg. And we know, when you stand on one leg, what happens to you at the end? You end up falling. But when we are in three lanes, when I know I'm a Kohen, I'm a Levi, I'm Israel, and we work together, what happens? We have a kiyum. We could work together. We stay. It's a known thing. You could have a team in any sport. You can have the best, the MVP on the team. But if he doesn't know how to share the ball, he's going to lose. You could have a mediocre team, even a bad team, but they have good teamwork, they're going to win. Lahavdil elef havdalot. You could have a shul, a beit midrash. I was in Kollel. We were 5-star players. We went to Eretz Yisrael, to the Rabbanut, to get smicha. You know what Rabbanut is? 6-hour test. But there was no achdut. We were Chad Samcha. It shattered. It shattered. On the other hand, you could have yeshivot where everybody's a mediocre player, but they like each other. They work together, they stay. Same thing with a marriage. We might not be the hottest couple, but we know how to shtim together, we respect each other, you'll stay. But you could be the hottest couple in the world. You look good, you make good money, you have a nice house, everybody is saying, wow. I'll see you in the Rabbanut in another year. I'll see you there. You're not going to handle it. You have to know how to shtim together. So Rosh Hashanah is coming, Chodesh Elul is coming. May we learn how to have that sharing together. May we learn, B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, how to tap into our energy to be one with each other. May we be zocheh lebracha, rebacha, hastacha, parnasa tova, re'eh, to fix the sin of Adam and Hevel, that she'etzitzu b'shechina, may we zocheh lechol meitav, zivugim agulin, bracha, hastacha, baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.